Bitcoin is in an absolutely critical position right now, which does not look good, and it could be about to turn very, very much worse. And I'm going to break down for you exactly why in this video. Now, realistically, I'm not actually very worried about this, and that's because of the previous factors that I was outlining in these videos. And if you're already subscribed and you've been hitting up those likes, you'll know about that because you've probably been watching all of this content. But I'm going to recap it for you all in just a minute. The key thing that I want to draw to your attention just now, though, before I really start off this video, is talking to you about how Bitcoin unfortunately did manage to lose this support with this red line right here, but then managed to climb back up. And so what we've done now is we've essentially potentially set a double bottom here where Bitcoin could be ready to rally up. And I think that's exactly what we're doing right now, right? If we take this onto a chart where I don't have any drawings and I zoom in a little bit further, you can get a very good idea now how if Bitcoin was actually kind of trading in a little bit of a descending channel and then ended up breaking out to the downside and then breaking out to the upside, but is now potentially just finding support on the bottom of this channel. So this is inherently generally a very bullish pattern, and the reason for that, and by the way, sometimes it doesn't work out, right? This is the same pattern right here. It ended up dumping the market lower. But the reason that I would consider these patterns to be bullish for Bitcoin is that it shows us that the market was at first dumping very quickly and then started dumping much slower, which is an indication that momentum could be reversing with this move right here, right? If momentum was still strong, we would be dumping quickly, but momentum isn't as strong when we start trending a little bit more sideways like this, which is an indication that we might start getting a pump back up. And so to see that we're now kind of back testing this area is absolutely great. We're also doing great things to reset the market right now, right? If we take a look at where the fear and greed index is, this is the lowest reading we've seen on the fear and greed index for a very, very long time. Look at that sharp dip right there from 71 all the way down to 52 in just one day. People are getting scared in this market right now, which is exactly what we need because we're not going to be rising up when everyone in the NAN is extremely bullish right now. And we're also starting to see this get reflected on the Bitmex funding rate, right? Take a look at this now over these past hours and past days. You know, the bears are definitely starting to amp up in numbers. It's now profitable to keep a long position open if you look at the funding rates alone. And if we take a look at this on a larger time frame, like the daily time frame right here, let's bring it back to the funding rates. You can start to see now very conclusively that this has dipped to become a little bit more bullish right now. You are no longer paying to keep a long position open, you are now being paid to keep a long position open. Now, if you don't understand what that means, you don't need to know. It's very, very advanced stuff, and really it makes no difference to actual trading. But what it is a reflection of is every time this graph is high, it's basically showing you that a lot of people are going long, and when it's low, it's showing you that a lot of people are going short. And that can give us an idea of where the sentiment is in the market. And we're seeing very well that this is now being reset. So the reason I'm pointing this out to you is that if you are inherently very bullish in this market right now, then seeing where we're at right now should really be a great sign for you. Take a look at this. The last time Bitcoin was trading over here was the 28th and 27th of October. And let's see where the fear and greed index was at that time. Right here, 28th of October. BAM fear and greed index was at a reading of 66, and 27 it was at 73. So we were at least 10 to 20 points higher than where we are today, and we're at the same price point. People are more scared of the market here than they were over here, even though the price levels are the same. And this is a big deal, right? Because the first time Bitcoin ever reached this $58,000 level was the 19th of February earlier this year, and I want to show you where the fear and greed index was back then, really to demonstrate this point very, very clearly, right? Take a look at this, 19th of February, where is it? Bam, right here, 19th of February, the market was at a fear and greed index rating of 93. It was extremely, extremely greedy. People were very greedy, people were very, very bullish. We're at the same price level right now, and people are only half as bearish here as they were over here. That's telling us a lot about how this market has gotten healthier, and I want you to keep that in mind. Now, this isn't something that's immediately going to play on the market, right? This doesn't immediately mean that we're in a good place and we're going to start pumping up, but for that longer term chart, it means that we're in a very good place. And I've already broken down for you why on this longer term chart, we're still in a very good place. We haven't even reached support yet on this longer term chart, right? And that should really tell you a lot about how much more this market has before things really start getting bad. On the daily time frame right here, we're just now at the bottom of this daily EMA ribbon. So this is where things can get very ugly in terms of momentum. If we lose this, I think we're going to be in a really bad place just for that for that longer term momentum. But again, there's still a lot of support levels lower, so I don't want to call any conclusions on that yet. That's going to mean if we drop below $58,500 and we close below that level, that's going to conclusively mean that we've lost support right here. Unfortunately, on the smaller time frames, like the 4-hour time frame, this resistance is catching up to the trend. And this is the next thing that I want to talk about right now, is this shorter term chart. So take a look at this. If I take off my indicators and really zoom in, you can start to get an appreciation for how, again, exactly as predicted, this green box ended up acting as support for Bitcoin. So this is the range that stretches between $55,000 and $60,000, which is a big $5,000 range. And that's exactly where Bitcoin was really struggling and finding resistance at earlier this year when we first hit these price levels. Look at this, Bitcoin consistently getting rejections at this very price level before eventually tumbling down and crashing by more than 50%. So this range, very, very important to the market previously. And if we take a look at the market recently, we can see quite well how we have managed to find a little bit of support there, right? Just measuring it from the low to the high, Bitcoin managed to bounce by 4% now, which is pretty damn good. But what I'm concerned about now is Bitcoin actually starting to find some resistance if it manages to climb a little bit higher, right? Take a look at this right here. So if Bitcoin forms a reaction rally up here and manages to find resistance here, this to me will become a little bit concerning. I don't think it's going to be like what happened over here, right? Bitcoin fell down to this level, found resistance here, crashed back down to find support, resistance again, support again, and then bam, breakout. I don't think we're going to have such a great ride like that, because this sell-off is noticeably more intense right now, right? We're not actually in a very, very healthy place, just considering that Bitcoin has only recently set a new all-time high, only 3% higher, and it just couldn't keep those highs. And this is the second time that's happened in this market range, right? So I would actually say we got lucky here by getting this bounce that took us up to a new all-time high. I'm not sure if we're going to have that same kind of luck the next time around, right? And the reason that I'm saying that is because we have shown a real level of weakness, which the bears are going to remember, right? The bulls have managed to push the market to new all-time highs, but there was no follow through after that. And so the main thing that I'm concerned about right now that could really be very problematic for Bitcoin is if it manages to rise up and only encounter resistance and then drop back down. Take a look at this on the 1-hour EMA ribbon. We are already doing this. Look at this on the 1-hour EMA ribbon right here. The market has already come up to find some resistance in this EMA ribbon and then get smacked right back down. Look at that. Look at that right there. That's 3 hits. 1, 2, and 3 key rejections from this EMA ribbon, where the market ends up dropping a little bit lower, and potentially getting sent back down to the bottom of the support range right here, which is at $55,000. Now, on the 4-hour time frame, we haven't hit the resistance yet, but if this thing does continue to trend up, this is the problem that I was outlining for you guys on this YouTube channel before. Again, I know that this stuff is not easy to accept, and it's not the kind of things that you want to hear, but that doesn't change the reality of these markets, which is that when you drop down below levels like this, you're going to start finding support above you. This is just how support and resistance works. It's a double-edged sword, right? The fact that we found so much resistance here earlier this year is why Bitcoin had such a good time finding support here previously and again just now. That's why we're getting these bounces. So finding resistance in the past is absolutely great because it means that we can find support in the future, but it works in reverse. And a lot of people just don't want to accept that. And you can choose not to accept that. But again, that's not going to change reality, right? So you're going to have to go somewhere else if you want to, just listen to fantasy fairy tales about your investments never ever dropping down. Because the fact is, there's resistance up ahead right now, and this is going to be difficult for Bitcoin to break. And actually, I have a chart that shows you exactly this. Take a look at this on the 1-hour time frame. We've got our beautiful Ichimoku clan. I got to pause the video right here and tell you guys again that if you haven't already watched my free tutorials on these two indicators, type this into the YouTube search bar right now to watch my Ichimoku cloud tutorial. This is a complicated indicator, but once you understand it, it's very simple. And in my opinion, it's one of the most powerful indicators that exist in the whole market, and it's completely free. Even my tutorial on this indicator is free. And then the next video to check out is the EMA video. So type this into the YouTube search bar and you can watch that as well, which is going to be an absolutely great video for you to check out if you want to understand a little bit more about this content. And of course, if you like getting free stuff, which is actually paid, that's part of my paid Fortified Academy courses, which many VIP members are going to be getting completely free of charge. You're getting it for free just by typing this into YouTube. So definitely check that out. But on the 1-hour time frame right here, we are definitely seeing Bitcoin potentially getting ready to establish a little bit more resistance right here and then drop right back down. We can see that previously on the 1-hour Ichimoku cloud, we actually managed to rise slightly above this level, but then we crashed right back down. So I'm counting this as a rejection. If we measure it from the top of this cloud all the way up to the breakout point, Bitcoin didn't even manage to rise up by 1% above the Ichimoku cloud. So as far as I'm concerned, this is a confirmed rejection from the cloud. And if we get another one, that would definitely be a little bit concerning for me. And the reason that I'm saying that is if we take a look at, bam, this chart right here, this is showing you what happened to Bitcoin earlier this year, when it broke down after hitting that all-time high at $65,000, we had our green Ichimoku cloud. Just look at the cloud right here. We had our green Ichimoku cloud. We fell below this wedge right here. We dropped down, and then we came back up to find resistance here, and then again, and then again, and then again. And the rest was history. We ended up crashing down to below $30,000, which was definitely a little bit concerning. Now, if you take a look at what's been happening in this market recently, we have the same wedge, we have the same green cloud, which turns into a red cloud, and we're ending up dropping down now and potentially getting ready to target this same area and find a little bit of resistance there, which could end up sending us much lower. So that would not be good. Can you just put that in the fridge, please? And that would not be good for the market, because that would potentially send Bitcoin down in the same way that we saw before. And I don't really like to use fractals in this way. This is called a fractal, where you're basically finding similar patterns on different time frames in different places in the market. I don't like to use this because I don't think it's a very scientific and very thorough way to do analysis in these markets. But I am also very much aware of how Bitcoin has really very closely been copying characteristics of the previous breakdown, and I've already outlined this to you in the previous video. So those of you who are subscribed, you already know about this. I gotta shout you guys again. I shout you guys out again. I absolutely love you all. Thank you. Oh, I can't speak now. I'm getting too excited. Thank you all so much for all the support that you've been giving me on this YouTube channel. If you find this content useful, you gotta hit that subscribe button, because YouTube is not gonna keep recommending this content to you unless you're already subscribed, unless you're hitting up that like button. Each time you engage with these videos, you're telling YouTube that you want to see more of them. And of course, the easiest way to do that is just to subscribe and tick the bell. So definitely do go ahead and check that out. But the key thing that I want to show you guys right here, very much along the same line of thought that I've just been outlining to you guys, is that Bitcoin ended up forming this wedge right here and breaking down, where we set 3 consecutive higher highs with 3 consecutive higher lows, but we were doing it fairly slowly. We weren't really pushing significantly higher highs. We ended up crashing down quite a bit after breaking down. We came right back up for a kiss of death, and that's when we crashed really, really hard. And we're forming the same thing right now. Now, we already had a fake out, so it doesn't mean that this could turn into a fake out again and just take us much higher. But first time a fake out, second time much less likely to be a fake out, in my opinion. So I think that if this market does end up potentially dropping a little bit lower, or just from here rising back up to find potential resistance right here, this is where it could turn very, very ugly. And we're starting to see resistance here around that $64,000 level if we come back up here over the next 2 weeks, which is an acceptable time frame. Because take a look at this. From the breakout day, Bitcoin broke out below this level right here on the 18th of April. It then took Bitcoin a further 11 days to reach resistance here, or a further 22 days to get the final rejection of this resistance. So if we measure this forward, 11 days later, our resistance line is trading at $62,500, or 22 days later, our resistance line is all the way up at about 63.5. So if we're looking at that kind of time frame, there's potential to find resistance anywhere around right here and then end up dropping back down. And if we just make a mental note of this level, kind of 62.5 all the way up to 64, that's basically what I've just said. And we bring this back to the Coinbase chart that I have drawn. Take a look at where my resistance box has been drawn already for over a month now. Well, maybe not over a month, but definitely for a few weeks. This resistance box that I've got for you guys is exactly at that level, stretching from about 62.5 all the way up to about $64,000. So this makes perfect sense for Bitcoin to come back up here. Let me just draw that line so you can visualize this, right? That line looks a little bit like this. So Bitcoin potentially, entering back up over here. I'm drawing this line way too close, potentially a little bit further out, towards the end of this month to find some resistance. And this green box is going to perfectly line up with this red line of resistance. And we're also going to start seeing that line up with other indicators that provide resistance for the market. So for example, the 4-hour Ichimoku cloud is just turning bearish at this very same price level right now. In terms of momentum, it's actually a little bit closer than that, which, it basically shows us that from these shorter time frames, there's a lot of, resistance that we could potentially be hitting. And that's only me focusing on the negatives, right? The best case scenario that Bitcoin has right now, in my opinion, is that it faces all of these very dangerous, tumultuous events, but it just kind of pumps up, rises above this level, backtests this area of support, and then rises all the way up to new all-time highs. This is the only good thing I can see Bitcoin doing right now, and this would just count as a second fake out, a double bottom, and then the market rallying very, very hard. Realistically, do I think that's going to happen? No, I don't. I can't say that I think that's going to happen because of this weakness that we've seen in the market before. But what I have to draw your minds back to right now is that I was saying the same things when Bitcoin was dropping back here, and I was really wrong about that, right? So I'm allowed to be wrong in these markets. I'm not claiming that I have a crystal ball, and these are the kind of things that I can easily make a mistake on, and it definitely looks like it's very possible to screw this kind of thing up. So I want you guys to keep that in mind, right? We're seeing a similar dump to what we saw before. It was one leg down, correction, one leg down, and then correction, and then up. And this is what we have right here. One leg down, correction. I'm sorry, one leg down, correction, one leg down, correction, and then back up. That's exactly what we did previously. So like I said, this market is repeating a lot of characteristics of before. What's to say that we don't repeat this characteristic as well? I don't want to rule that out. And that's actually why I'm not going short in this market, right? A lot of people are going to start saying that I want to make money on the market going down. That's not the case. There is a lot of support in this range, and I wouldn't dare go short into a support area right now. That's why I just haven't executed a trade. Since this dump happened, I haven't been in the market trying to trade, because there's a lot of, like, we're getting heavy dumps, but there's still a lot of support. So to me, it just doesn't make sense to be taking on aggressive positions right now. My primary responsibility, my primary objective in trading is, and has always been, to protect my capital first. And the reason for that is that if you suffer a loss, you're going to have to work double as hard to make it back. Literally double as hard. If you lose 50% of your money, you're down from $100 down to $50, you have to double your $50 just to break even again. If you go from $100 down to $20, you need to make a from $100 down to $80, which is a $20 loss. You have to make back 25% of your money to recover a 20% loss. You're always working an uphill battle if you want to make your money back. If you go from $100 again down to $90, that's a 10% loss, but you got to make back 11% to break even. So the more you exercise this math, the more you're going to realize that the more money you lose, the more fucked you get in these markets. And it is not easy. That's just the financial loss. That's without even considering the psychological impact. And that's exactly what I am to show you guys how I'm navigating inside the 4Flies VIP group. So if you want in, follow these steps on screen. And if you want to get some free cash, then check out this link. The Bybit link in the description down below. That's also going to give you up to $3,500 completely free of charge just by signing up using my link in the description down below. So if you like free money and you want to trade on the same platform that I've been trading on for years, and this is the only one that I've been using lately, then definitely check them out. I've been working with them for years and absolutely love them. You've got all the shit coins that you could ever dream of, have fun, and you get the free money to trade on them. So absolutely nothing to lose. Obviously, you keep all the profits as well. All you have to do is sign up using my link and make your first deposit. So this can take like 5 minutes in total for you to get started up on that stuff. So definitely do check it out. There's no KYC as well to get this bonus, by the way. You just sign up and you have it. So definitely take advantage of that while you can. It's not going to last forever. And so that's the kind of picture I'm seeing for Bitcoin right now. Now, the other thing I mentioned to you is that if Bitcoin just kind of floats sideways around this level, that's also going to get me concerned. It's the same thing I was saying right here, right? I did just tell you I was wrong about it, but another thing that I said even when I realized I was wrong, and by the way, when I changed my mind and when I became bullish was when Bitcoin crossed this yellow line right here of $47,000. So I flipped my bias very, very quickly. That's the thing about being wrong in these markets, is that it doesn't matter as long as you don't stay wrong. A lot of people, they don't change their opinions. They want to stay true to the one line of thinking that got them there, and that's a very dangerous thing. I have absolutely no problem with changing my mind in these markets, because that's how I know I'm able to protect myself and continue to maximize my profits. And one of the things I told you guys, even back here and as Bitcoin was rising, is that looking back on the setup that Bitcoin had here, this was incredibly bearish, and I would be bearish in this situation 10 out of 10 times again. If I had 10 more opportunities to trade this, I would have made 10 more trades doing exactly the same thing, where I lost money on this trade because I was expecting Bitcoin to drop. And it's the same thing right here. I'm using the same line of thinking. Even though Bitcoin's already done this before, I'm a little bit more hesitant right now. That's why I said I'm not actually going to go short right now. But I definitely think that if Bitcoin just kind of stabilizes around this price level, that means we're getting a little bit too comfortable at the support level, and we're probably going to have to plunge below it. That's honestly what I'm thinking right there. I can't see anything else happening to Bitcoin if it trades sideways. If it ends up pumping up, I'm expecting resistance. If we don't find resistance, I'm expecting a back test and then mooning up, which would be absolutely fantastic. But realistically, I think resistance is ahead. I think if we trade sideways, resistance is going to get lower. It's just from a lot of different angles, Bitcoin is not in a good place right now because it's had two very strong dumps and it's had good chances to recover the market. It just hasn't seized them. That's just the short-term picture, though. Like I said, when we start zooming out, it's still a really good picture. I need you guys to keep that in mind right now. It's still got support. It's still holding daily EMA support. It's still got the Ichimoku cloud, which we haven't even tested. It's still got all of this support right here that I've been outlining to you all for a very long time, stretching between $60,000 and $55,000. It still has a lot of support in this range as well. And of course, that still means that it's in a good place, right? We're also seeing the market really reset in terms of sentiment now all the way down to neutral territory. And again, I mean, we haven't been in neutral territory since the 2nd of October, right? Take a look at what was happening on the 2nd of October. 2nd of October, the market was trading all the way down at $48,000, which is a whole $11,000 higher than where we are right now. So, you know, we've definitely reset the sentiment by quite a lot right now in this market. And to me, that is a very, very good, very, very healthy thing. So that's what I'm seeing right here in this market. I wish I could tell you something more positive, but you guys know the deal with this analysis. I'm not going to try and sugarcoat it. I'm not going to try and tell you things that you want to hear just for the sake of being popular or being liked. I don't care about being liked. I just care about making money in these markets. I'm really sorry to say that I'm not here to make friends, that I'm not here to be a popular and likable person. Unfortunately, that's not what works in the game of crypto. Take a look at Ethereum right here. It is sliding and losing strength against Bitcoin exactly as predicted. I'm very glad that I sold my Ethereum tokens way up over here. And if we take a look at some of the other altcoins, we're also seeing them start to lose some ground against Bitcoin as well. Cardano also losing some ground against Bitcoin. Unfortunately, it had a big run up exactly when I was warning you guys that it's probably going to run up. But unfortunately, that run up was cut short and we're now sweeping new lows. We've just actually lost crucial support right here. So I'm now looking at Cardano potentially dropping down to the $1.50 area. The $1.50 area is a big, did I mention big support level for Cardano, probably the biggest one that it has on its chart. The reason for that is it's gotten rejected here countless times. Let me just zoom in so you can see this very clearly right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8 rejections here across a time span of well, basically February all the way up to August. So 160 days, pushing 3 months. 6 months that Cardano was finding resistance in this range, and it was also finding support in this range. Take a look at this one. And basically just 2. It's difficult with support in this range. It wasn't actually very reliable support, but it was very, very reliable resistance. And the thing that I want you to keep in mind is that this lines up beautifully to potentially be a little bit of resistance for, a little bit of support for Cardano if it manages to drop a little bit lower down. And if we throw a Fibonacci retracement on this, let's see if there's any key levels that line up with it. And yes, there are. We are at the 618 retracement right now. So I would have loved to see this level hold. Unfortunately, it didn't. We did only wick down below. So if we hold this level, we're still in a very good place. But if we drop below, we still have 786 support, so we're not actually in a very bad place at all. Anyway, guys, I hope you have enjoyed this one. I really need to go now. I am actually going to be on a like TV show or something now, so definitely check out my Instagram if you haven't already. It is linked down below, and you can follow me over there. The profile is verified. Please don't follow the impersonators, only go for the one with the blue tick. And you can check out the stories that I'm going to be making about that. I am very, very excited for it. Anyway, have a great rest of your day, and I've got to go. I'm going to be doing a hot sauce challenge with somebody else who challenged me. Now, those of you who know me well, you're going to know that I am of Pakistani and Indian descent, 50-50. My mother, who I absolutely love and adore, did not give a fuck about me in terms of, you know, me eating spice. It was either I eat the spicy food or I go hungry. This is basically how it went for a lot of my childhood, and I hated it at the time, and I thank God now that she raised me like a man. And I've been challenged to eat some spicy stuff, and this other dude thinks that I'm gonna back down. So maybe I do, it's gonna be really funny, or maybe I don't, and it's gonna be really funny. So definitely go check that out if you want to see a little bit more of what's going on in my personal life, a little bit more of the fun stuff. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. You know what to do if you have enjoyed this video. Hit up the likes, subscribe, tick the bell, do all that good stuff. Bybit, if you want some free cash deposited straight into your account, all you have to do is sign up using my link and make your first deposit. Anyway, I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.